Hello, dear ones. It's Maria with you again. Today is March 10th, 2022, and I want to talk to you today about tarot reading. What is tarot reading? And also why I think Janine is the world's best tarot reader. And also why when I listen to her videos help me to keep my vibration high and keep me away from fear. By the way, this is the map of consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins, and here he explains he put a scale of our thoughts creates an emotions, and each emotions has a vibration, and depending on how many times it vibrates per second, it will put you in a frequency. So thoughts of shame or beliefs of shame will have a vibration of 20, while thoughts of fear, that fear is false evidence appearing real, will give you a vibration of 100, and 500 is love. So I'll talk more about that later. I have a video about the map of consciousness. If you want to take a look, I explain more about that. For you that's new to my channel, I like to start with a little summary just for you that's new to my channel and also new for any kind of spiritual knowledge. That's how I was when I started. So it starts like that. We were created by God, like Himself, and God is energy, God's light, God's creativity, God's love. We are part of God's consciousness. We are a beautiful thought in the mind of God. When we incarnate on earth, we forget who we are. And actually, we forget we're here to remember who we are. But only a little part of that consciousness come incarnate on the body. The remain stay with God and has the knowledge of everything. That's what we call the higher self. Every person incarnated on earth right now has their higher self with God. Do we lose that connection? Do we lose that connection with that other part of our consciousness? No, we never lose. Sometimes we are not able to hear it, but that part of ourself is always communicate with us and interact with us through our emotional system, emotional guidance system, our feelings. So every time you have a good feeling, that means that your higher self is looking at the same thing that you are looking and is agreeing with you. You both is having kind of the same idea. But when we feel bad, it's because your higher self is looking at the same thing you are looking, but is having a different opinion of your opinion about that subject. Another way to put that is there is just one road. In one side you have love, joy, peace, enlightenment, ascension, and the other side you have fear, grief, shame, destruction. So every time you have a decision, you have a thought that's a high vibrational thought, you are looking towards love. Every time you look towards love and you walk in that direction, your higher self send you a good feeling. Very well, you are doing really good. But every time you have a bad feeling, is because you are turning away from love. You turn around to the direction of fear, and you will start walking towards fear. That's when you feel bad. So that's a little summary, and a good question. Does God really condemn tarot reading? Does God really condemn interaction with the spiritual world? I'm not gonna answer that question to you. You're gonna make up your own mind. But let's have another question. Why some religions condemn tarot reading? As GPC says, for our protection. What happens is, when you do a tarot reading, actually you are connecting with the spiritual world, who is behind the cards passing the message is the spiritual world. So the church later, in the very beginning, they didn't want people really connecting with the spiritual world. One of the reasons was, when you are vibrating under 200 and you connect to the spiritual world, you are not going to connect with good spirits, with good energies. You're going to connect with spirits that has the same vibration of you. And they don't have your best interest of heart. They're going to mislead you. But if you are vibrating over 200 and you connect to the spiritual world, and then you have a completely different experience, because those high frequency beings, they are bounded by unconditional love, and they love you unconditionally. So instead of they just say, oh, okay, you can try to connect to the spiritual world, but first rise a vibration, they just cut short and say, you are forbidden to go there, just don't go it. So I created 2 videos, one about mediumship and another about possession and attachments. So it's really worth to see, and everything is really based on your vibration. If you have any interaction with the spiritual world and you're vibrating under 200, you have one kind of experience. But you're vibrating over 200 and you have another kind of experience. So what is tarot reading? How that works? I think that tarot reading has 2 parts. One is the tangible parts. Let's say the physical parts. You have the cards. You need to know how to shuffle. I'm not really good on that. I'm not even try in front of the camera. And then you need to learn what each one means. I got a book for that. If you ask me if I ever had a tarot reading 3 years ago, I'd say no. But listen to Janine, I even decided that I want to learn tarot. So this one is a book that gives you the meaning of each card. So you need to learn those meanings. You need to learn how to set the layout and what its position mean for each card, because each card will have different meaning depending on the position on the layout, or even the other cards around. So it's a very complex thing, but anyone can learn that. If really decided to learn, you can learn that. But that's not everything about tarot. Who decide which cards goes in each position of the layout? Who decides that? Of course, Mary, it's random. The tarot reader is shuffling the cards and it's random. Nobody's doing nothing. I disagree with you. In my understanding, when you are inspired to go see a tarot reading. It's your higher self trying to give you a message that he's not able to give it to you through your intuition, it's just not listening. So if he thinks there is any possibility that you will go to see a tarot reader, he'll try to give that idea to you. And when usually do you do that? When there is, or when you are really close to go to take a very important decision that will take you far away from your path, or even because, or sometimes you're just too close, but there is just a little push that you need to know to really get to really change some things that are important. Well, there are many reasons, but who shuffle who really shuffle the cards, who really decide which cards go in each position. The tarot reading has the is not seeing the cards, so it cannot be the tarot reader, and it's random. But how, if all the cards are facing up, how sometimes you have a card that's facing upside down? Who did that? Spirits, the higher self, the one that's managing the reading, the one that will decide which message the person needs to know, is the one that's managing that. But that's just my understanding. I have no way to prove that to you, but that's my understanding. So what, I'm sorry, kind of get lost a little bit here. But when you shuffle the cards and then you have all the layout showing all the cards, and then the message is ready to be read, and the first thing, a tarot reader that know the meaning of the card can literally just explain what the card means, whatever the person understood. But another part of that is the message come through intuition, and it's come from the higher self of the person, comes from the entity that's trying to give the message. But remember, those high vibrational energy, they are vibrating in a higher frequency. If the tarot reader is locked in a low vibration thoughts, they might not be able to hear the message. That's why it's so important to choose to listen to your intuition and choose a tarot reader, to choose your tarot reader. The worst case, if you have a bad experience, don't try that one anymore. But it's really important that the tarot reader will be able to listen to the message that comes to the high vibrational beings. Because if the person is vibrating down low here, she might hear other message that comes from her ego or from lower vibration energies that she's attracting, and those will be the ones that will filling up the gaps on the reading. Because if you just read literally, some things may not make many sense, but filling up the gaps, they might just made up through their ego mind or the low vibration energies. So that's the danger of a tarot reading, but it's not to dismiss completely. You can just go with the religions and say, oh, I have nothing to do with the spiritual world because it's dangerous. Or you can learn how things work, rise your vibration, and if you get connected to the spiritual world, you get connection with light beings. Because you cannot reach love, peace, enlightenment if you are just living based on the physical world. To start with, we don't live in a physical world. We live in a holographic world. But if you dismiss anything that you cannot perceive with your five senses, you are dismissing God and you are dismissing the greater part of your own consciousness, that's your higher self. So that's all about tarot reading. Now let's talk about Janine. I was really impressed when I found Janine, or Janine found me, or my guides show me Janine on her videos, and I understood a lot about tarot with her and got even inspired to learn more about. But what's really impressed me was what she does right now. Right now, she's not doing personal readings, but what she does, she gets the news. That's the mainstream media. Of course, you don't think that. I think many of you already realize that the mainstream media are not really telling all the truth. Maybe they are just thinking, they're just telling what they think we should know for our own protections, JPCers. So they're not really telling the truth. So she get a news about something that they are talking about, and then she, through the cards, she asked to the universal knowledge, what's behind that story. What they say is really the truth, and what should we expect as outcome of that. So basically, she decoded the message that is out there to everybody to see, that many of us already know is not based on truth. So if you want to know what's really behind the Ukraine war, just search on YouTube for Tarot by Janine, Ukraine. Or if you want to know why the 45th president of USA was allowed to walk in front of the Queen of England, she have that answer too. Or if you want to know why the last Oscar ceremony almost didn't have any of the famous Hollywood stars, where they were. If you want to know those kind of things, you can find, if you really want to know the exact truth, you go there and connect with Tarot by Janine. She also has another channel that says Sending Ravens, but she does a really amazing, beautiful light work job with John Claude in Beyond Mystic. That's really amazing. I really recommend that you guys go there. And I just want to say thank you to Janine. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to do this work. And know that your work really makes the difference. It's make the difference in my life. And I know it's make the difference in the life of many people. And I always telling about you to everybody I meet, and now I'm telling in my channel. So for you that's new to my channel, I have videos in English, Portuguese, and Spanish. They are separated by playlist, and the intent of my channel is to get the people to start thinking about spirituality, for people that wanted to get out of the matrix and start really understanding about the law of attraction, about spirituality, about your connection, how you can connect to God directly, and all sorts of things. That's the intent of my videos. And I even I use a sequential numbers to my videos because if you are really new to something, to this subject, and then if you start on my 15th video and you hear something that you don't know about, you can go back to my previous videos. I already explained about that in one of them. So I just realized that Spirit was guide me one step of the time, gently, to open my awareness. So that's why I'm trying to do. For many of you, that's already advanced. So my videos might not be that interesting to you, but maybe for a family member or a friend that never heard about, that really doesn't care about much, that's still inside the matrix, just working on the survival mode. That's the intention of my channel, to get people out of that survival mode, because we are meant to do more than that. We are meant to thrive, not just to survive. That's all for today. Thank you very much for watching my video. Much love and light to you.